Hi everyone, I'm here to give my perspective on the Grand Campaign Hotseat drama. A lot of people will be knowing about this, like if you've seen, it's highly unlikely anyone's here that isn't there, so if you know what I mean. So, just to the story for people who don't know, is the Grand Campaign and Stainless Steel Hotseats are both over, completely. This is because Legend has disbanded the group. Yeah, pretty much. And there's two big videos on this subject, between Swissman15 and Legend also. So, I know this sounds really dull, this is not a happy topic, but yeah, so I wanted to make this video to give more information to people because there has been a lack of information. Sorry about that. I will edit that in a minute. There's still some holes in the stories. Neither side, I think, is completely as clean as they say they are. Okay, I'll show you. Okay, so going back to the beginning, the first time Legend attempted to cancel the Hotseat, it was totally random. Like, I don't know if something had provoked him beforehand, but it looks really random to everyone else. It was just all this stuff about I think he checked who'd uploaded episodes, and he got pissed off about it. So, yeah, and once he'd done that, he came out and he was like, okay, I'm cancelling the Hotseat because X, Y, Z, and then to start with, everyone was pleading. They were like, no, please don't, because to be honest, for most people, right, this was a really high point in the Hotseat. This is a point where everyone, apart from him clearly, was really actually enjoying it, and they were, there's a lot of discussion behind the scenes, there were big plans, like stuff was about to get really good. I'm sure he said about how there was a big plan to dogpile Legend, and in the West we were gonna team on France, basically. I just did that before the Hotseat was cancelled, actually. Me and Enco were gonna take down France. And so stuff was heating up, everyone was really looking forward to it, and this just happened. So everyone was like, no, we like this Hotseat, and there was nothing we could do if he cancelled it, because nobody knew what the admin was, or anything. And then people started to get annoyed after, and they were like, what? This is really selfish, which in some ways they had a fair point. So I started speaking to him, and during me speaking to him, people, because it spanned about 6 hours. It wasn't 1 6-hour block, it was on and off a bit, but that was how long it lasted, pretty much. It was a long conversation. People were ditching and saying, well, you know, if Legend's not there, neither am I. So I was just like, oh no, and so I was pleading with him, just please stay and just carry on, it'll be fine to start with, and he was like, no, I am leaving no matter what. And so I was like, fine, can you at least let it continue? And then he basically just said, fine, have admin. So he gave me it straight away, and I was like, okay. And it was sort of like, right, good, it's saved. But then a clear problem was, even when I announced this, a lot of people still didn't want to be back on board. There were still lots of people being like, yeah, without Legend there's no me also, Enco especially. So I was kind of like trying to find replacements, this was going well, and then Legend was sort of like, I don't want Poland to die, I want to fight on. I'm like, yeah, you should come back, and he's like, no. And so I'm like, okay. And at this point I wasn't having a huge amount of success, or I was having success getting people on, but then some people were like, took one look at him and like, no, I'm out. So I was panicking here, I was sort of like, I don't know what to do. And so eventually he was like, I want to stay, but I really don't. I'm like, here, you should stay. And then the other thing was that a lot of people there, I don't particularly, I know some other don't, care about views. And if it's not getting views and there's no interest, what's the point in doing it? I would carry it on, 0 views or not, but some people wouldn't. So I was like, Legend kind of has to be there. Plus, I don't know, I was like, well, come back as co-admin or whatever, and we can work this out. And he's like, fine, here's a deal. And I was like, oh no. And he said to me, basically, he will come back, he'll be a co-admin, and he promises never to try and delete the group, and he will play it till the end, unless but on his condition was that Coda was kicked for that, and I was sort of at first like, no. I don't think that's fair. Like, his rule breaks have been minor compared to some others that haven't got kicked for it, and I'm like, that really looks bad also, because it looks as if it's just because he found out he got betrayed, because I was the one who confirmed it to him at that point, and I don't think that really helped actually. And he was like, no, I'm just, and by the way, just as a side thing, when you are doing badly in a hot seat, your enjoyment of it does go down a lot. It's a horrible feeling being betrayed and thinking like things are going to end. You enjoy it much more if you're success, if you're having a success spree. So I don't know if there was a link or this. I can't prove it, and it would be silly for me to say, yeah, this is like Swissman's done, and declare, yeah, this is the sole reason, because I don't genuinely think it was also. But he found out he'd been betrayed, and I was like, this is really dirty. And the thing he replied to with that was, yeah, well, sometimes you gotta fight dirty with dirty. And I was just like, fine, okay. And I said, I'm not being the one to press the button and kick him, though. You have to do that. And he's like, yeah, that's okay. So things were looking good again. I managed to convince likes of Inco and stuff to come back, and it was going well. And he had some replacements for people like Milan, like Overkill, who I've already ranted about him a few times before. There's no point in doing it again. He quit, so yeah, I wanted to turn factions like Milan and Egypt AI, because Gamersville was trying to quit also, but he was like, no, they have to be completely human. I disagreed with this, but I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Yeah, and it was going, I'd say smoothly, but I was talking about how it was a high point after Coda being kicked. Something changed, like it was like a huge part of it was lost, which is true, it was. So everything I felt on my end anyway, the enthusiasm kind of went again, especially since Legend. There was a 2-week gap between that and Legend doing his turn, and that just totally slowed the hype for it down, and it made it really just like, oh, I can't be bothered doing this anymore. And then it just kind of it died away. So now onto Legend and Swissman specifically, and what I think. Obviously, I told you about the steal. He's broken it without properly saying, hey, I'm going to do this, is this okay? Which isn't great. I think he could have at least had a conversation with me and said, I'm sorry, I can't stick to this anymore, or something. And he didn't. So I guess he probably just got pissed. I sent him the what Swissman's video was to start with, and he was like, thanks for showing me this. And then I came back and he's like, I've deleted the group. It's like, great. So I guess you could say it's my fault. I made some bad judgments too at points. I don't think I was firm enough with letting Coda be kicked or whatever. I should have just been like, no, you can stay if you want Poland to live, otherwise you can go, or something. That is a regret of mine. But then the other thing he said is that everyone was well notified and it was really clear he was going to delete the group. This is totally false. He put in a comment somewhere. I'm looking at it now. He says something like, yeah, he's gonna. I told everyone there's notification everywhere. It was really clear. It really wasn't. That's just not true. I don't know why we'd bother saying that. The other thing that annoys me about this video is this whole idea that small YouTubers are less reliable and have a lack of commitment. I would actually disagree to a huge extent, because small YouTubers probably have a lot less to worry about. They don't have other series to maintain, and me especially, and some others I know were there because they like Hotseats. It's because we have a passion for them. They were there in the first place. I'm talking about people who started with maybe less than 1,000 subscribers or something, and we are the grassroots community that runs this. Well, big YouTubers just want to grow their channel a lot of the time, and actually it's been some of the small YouTubers like Captain Invisible and Egyptian Viking and whatever, and Coda while he was there, that mostly were fine, apart from that rule break at the end from Coda, honestly. And Swissman, as much as you might dislike his personality, was actually an ideal player too. Because even if you disagree with someone's persona, that's not a reason to get rid of them unless they're seriously doing something really wrong. Because he uploaded videos on time, they were good quality, and he played his turns fast, which is what you want from somebody. So that is a good thing about Swissman, and I would not hesitate to accept him to another hot seat, because he didn't really do much wrong, although he did do some things that I disagree with and think is totally ridiculous, which I'll get to in a minute. So yeah, this whole small YouTuber thing isn't true. And actually, it was like a comment from Warrior of Sparta actually in Legend's video was, oh, remember what we discussed at the Mod Awards, don't bother with hot seats, it seemed like a waste of time. This is the kind of ignorance that annoys me. It's just treating it just like it's just my series, I can do what I want with. And I don't think Legend is realising that this is what he's getting. He's annoyed, and it's not small YouTubers that are to blame. I think the bigger YouTubers being worse, like Pixelated Apollo quit the hot seat because, well, he wasn't getting views from it, it didn't do much for him, fine. Warrior of Sparta had personal commitments or whatever, so he couldn't do it, but I'm a bit like, And some of the other bigger ones were slower in getting their turns done. I just cannot, I find it really insulting in some ways. I get his point though, that we don't have the same base to pressure us if we don't, but to be fair, if that was going to happen, they would all migrate over here and pester us and be like, why'd you quit if we did or something. So I don't know. And nobody exactly went and punished the big YouTubers anyway, because it's like and the big YouTubers get away with doing selfish stuff like that. That's my rant about the small YouTuber thing. That's the thing that annoys me most. Overall though, I don't think Ledger was a bad admin at all. He just made some weak decisions sometimes, like it didn't look very fair a lot of the time, and I don't think he made clear enough that his reasoning behind some of his decisions, like why he kicked Coda. If he said maybe, okay, this is to show that I am no longer tolerating any rule breaks, even if it's a tiny thing, I don't think it would have been as bad. Than if, because people are bringing up all these old examples of how you didn't kick them or whatever. Other thing is the setting up of the SS hot seat. I could kind of tell it was set for disaster, because some of the YouTubers in there I'd known weren't very reliable, and also they were big again, which I know I don't necessarily think big YouTubers are a bad thing. It's just that I think they're busier and have trouble playing more sometimes. That's not true for others. There's others that have been great in the past, but others not so much. Yeah, I couldn't really see the SS hot seat working out in the long term, especially since we had like 3 players drop out straight away. It was just no. And on to Swissman, who I don't think Swissman has a real understanding of the situation very well. I don't think he grasps really what it's like and how difficult it is to admin that stuff, because I was an admin for some time, even though I didn't end up having to do a lot. Yeah, I don't know, he doesn't seem to empathise very much. Like, he's probably just like, oh, you're getting angry, deal with it. But then the other thing about Swissman is, this is a totally hypocritical of him to be saying that, oh, it's all your fault the hot seat fell apart, you can't run big hot seats. Neither can he. Look at he's tried to run all these grand campaign hot seat groups I'm in of his. Like, I'm in about 4 or something, like realistic hot seat groups, hot seat with subs, alternate GC Hotseat group. His hot seats that are big have never worked out either. So I don't know why he is going on about stuff like this at all. I mean, he really doesn't have the right to be saying that in a lot of ways, just because he's failed to make a success of his own ones. Maybe if he'd run a few successful, maybe he could be talking then. And yeah, his attack video on Legend was maybe a bit too harsh. I don't know. I get that he's angry. There's a lot of emotions being flung around here right now, but yeah. So what's next for the hot seat? So this leaves me in a strange position because I am still an admin. I could continue if I wanted to, but obviously a hot seat isn't a hot seat without the people in it. I thought I did alright as admin while I was there, even though I didn't do a lot. I would be probably happy to continue actually with some of the loyalist people that have been there from the start, and others that have been really good since they've been there, like obviously Barry Knight and Egyptian Viking, two great people. Potentially bring back Swissman or Coda or whatever, but if they don't want to do it, obviously that can't happen, and if nobody else is interested, then there's no point. So I want you to tell me about that in the comments. And yeah, that's my point of view of this. Really, as for other hot seats, I don't know if I'll be joining a lot. Like, I don't have a huge amount of time for this because I have exams now. As much as I enjoyed playing the hot seat, that's something I should do. I should look back. I wasn't expecting it to last almost 2 years, so I don't think anyone was. Where did I enjoy it most? I liked it really at the start of the hot seat. Like, it was good fun. It was like there was all these players. It just seemed much more. I was more new to hot seats, but that's what I like. I look back on it nostalgically almost now, so long ago, and I was much worse at hot seats, but it didn't matter because I loved the whole cool idea of really itching for a video to come out, and like just all other things. Like, I loved the whole Spain diplomacy stuff and just stuff like that. It was really just, it was something, I don't know, it's hard to describe the feeling. It's just good. You'll know if you've played in hot seat yourself, but the fact you got to see everyone else's parts just made it so much better. It was just so fun. I don't know, I liked it, even if I didn't do particularly well in the start. And then my war efforts against England started to fail. And I was a bit like, yeah, I'm not too bothered about this anymore. And then, of course, I turned it around. Stuff was going well, and I was sort of like, yes, I'm happy, and I felt a huge improvement myself. And yeah, it was like, I don't know, I'm kind of lost for words a bit, but then, and then of course, once I beat England, while in game it might not have been so exciting, diplomacy, the hot seat, I thought was running well. Actually, that was the thing that annoyed me about the first time it was cancelled. So it was. I don't really think it was necessary to make such a thing. It could still be going right now, turn 17, 18 or something, if that first we're cancelling it thing hadn't happened. To be honest, it's just a shame. Yeah, I think. Behind the scenes there's a lot going on. As I said, my plans were basically to kill France with the Moors, and then I was probably going to go for Denmark, depending on how well. I thought they would actually win against Legend, which is something else I think a lot of people were looking forward to, that Legend might lose for the first time. And I think that just the idea of that was really cool, and that's what makes it seem like, so there's been a lot of speculation that he thinks it's quite a big deal to Legends that he might lose. So obviously this could be garbage, but I don't know. This has been a big ramble, but that's my perspective on this entire thing. So just comment your thoughts, feelings, or whatever. Yeah, feel free to like or dislike the video, and I don't know, this is just my truthful perspective on fact and feelings. So bye.